Have you ever seen anything so cute? This is Zoe. Actually, his full name is Zohar, but he's 6 weeks old officially, so I'm very excited for him to be a new part of our family. And so today we're going to be going over some of my best recommendations for traveling in Bali. A lot of people have been asking about that. And I wanted to mention because, I'm going to be making a PDF about the different places that I've been over the past 12 years in Bali that I think are the best. And I am going to share some today with you as well. And if you're interested in traveling to Bali, I can give you some insights as well, because people have been asking, like, do you have to have a vaccine? Is there all these like requirements, like for the visa? And just to start right out with that, it's exciting. They dropped all the vaccine requirements. You don't even need to get tested for COVID, and you don't even need a visa. A few, like maybe when I first started going to Bali, they always required a visa, but even the visa they have, it's called visa on arrival. So basically, you arrive at the airport and you get the visa when you are in the customs line. So it's like so easy. And I think it's like $20 or something. So visa is no big deal. And um yeah, so just traveling to Bali is so easy. The other thing that I wanted to mention for everybody who's coming, and if anybody just watching this that's thinking about going to Bali and or joining us in January, that you can actually the best place to find tickets is on what I think is on kayak.com. So if you go to kayak, KAYAK.com, you can search. And okay, so the airport in Bali, the code is DPS, and that stands for Denpasar because that's the name of the capital. And so there's only one airport in Bali. People ask me that. I wrote a whole book called Know Before You Go, and it's in there, but I'm just giving you a little oversight. So basically, you book the flight into there. Now, when I have traveled in the past, I love to go through LA because it's the fastest route from America. But if you're in Europe, the fastest route is actually Dubai. So if you're on the other side of the country, in the US, and like, for example, I'm in Miami, then I would potentially go through Dubai. Because, like, if you were going to be on the East Coast, you would go through Europe and the Middle East. And if you're on the West Coast, you're going to go through Asia. So when I have traveled there over the years, I've tried lots of different routes. They're all kind of great. But the one that I always like the best is actually the one that goes through Taipei. So Taipei is in Taiwan, and they have an amazing airport. And actually, there's a little hack that I'm going to share with you that you're going to want to write this down. Is there's in the Taipei airport, there's a lounge, a free lounge that has free massage chairs and a movie theater. And it's like super cool. So even if you get there in the middle of the night, that it's so nice. You could just go there and get this massage. You have to get the tokens from the cafe. So it's a whole thing. But anyway, if anybody's interested in knowing more about the free massage lounge and movie theater in Taipei Airport, let me know in the comments. But basically, these are little hacks that I learned over the years. It really, like, traveling teaches you so many things, and it's fun. Like when you think about it like that, where you're like, oh, what am I going to discover now? So anyway, flying through Taipei is my favorite. The reason is because through LA, if you go from LA to Taipei, it's like the shortest route. So for example, LA to Taipei, and then you have to have a layover in Taipei, and then you're going to go from Taipei to Bali. So you can't go directly to Bali because Bali is a little island in the middle of Indonesia. And Indonesia has over 22,000 islands or some crazy amount. So, basically Bali's just one of like these, I don't know if it's 2,000 or 20,000. It's a lot of islands. And so when, like, you can never go directly there from really far away. That's how it works with islands. You always need to do a little layover. Anyway, so basically Taipei is my favorite, but you can also go through Hong Kong. You can go through Australia. You can go through China. I mean, you can go through Japan. You can go through a number of Singapore. There's a number of airports that will go to Bali. And depending on the flights and stuff, you could just check them all out and see. But then the other fun thing that I suggest when you're traveling is if you have a little extra time and a little extra money, you could do a little layover in one of or any of those places. And that's fun too. I've done that before, like where I was like, okay, I'm going to be in this city for 12 hours. Should I just sit in the airport or just leave the airport and go check it out? As long as they let you leave and come back, you just have to double check because you don't want to leave and then they, I don't know, are weird or something. Mostly it's fine. And so I've done that before. Like I did that in Singapore. And Singapore is a really interesting place because it's very different than like Indonesia, and it's more Asian, and Indonesia's more island vibes or whatever. So, but Singapore is quite expensive. So you also want to look into that. So if you're gonna like go and explore, check out the local currency and pricing and things to do, because I remember being a little bit shocked. I think I paid like $30 for curry or something for lunch. And I was like, wait a minute, I thought all Asian islands are affordable, but then I realized not all of them are. In fact, Hong Kong is very expensive. Hong Kong is, I think, one of the most expensive cities in the whole world, apparently, I've heard. Maybe not the whole world. Yeah, I think it's like up there. But anyway, so you just want to look into that. But the nice thing is if you can go through any of these other places, it's quite cool. So you can go, for example, Australia would be a cool one that I've never done that I always wanted to do, which would be like do a little layover in Australia. But then Australia is so big and cool, like you wouldn't want to just do like 12 hours. You know what I mean? You want to go and explore. And so you might have to in that case, if you wanted to set it up like that, then you might consider calling the airline and asking them. And this is a secret, a little hack that I learned that most people don't even know you can do this. So let's say you're searching for flights and you find a flight, let's just to give an example, that goes from LA to Bali, and in the layover, it stops in Australia, let's just say. So, but let's say the stopover is only 5 hours. Like that's not enough time to do anything. So you wouldn't be able to leave the airport. You wouldn't be able to check it out. So what you can do is you can call the airline, and here's the interesting thing. Airlines operate on patterns, right? So if they have a flight that goes from Australia to Bali on Tuesday at 4 p.m., it's every Tuesday at 4 p.m. And then you can look at the other days. Like if there's one that's going from there, like on Thursday at 9 a.m., it's going to be every week. Pretty much they stay on a schedule. And the reason is because they have to book the slot, right, for their plane to park at the airport. So they book 9 a.m., Tuesday or whatever, every week for the whole year, for however many years that they can arrange it. And so it's always consistent. So knowing that, this is the interesting thing. You can talk to the airline and you can say, I'm going to be flying, let's say from LA to Bali, and I want to do the stopover in Australia. And you tell them the flight number. And then what you can do is you can ask them, would you be able to help me? Because I want to stay in Australia 5 days. And so I would like to get on the Bali leg of that flight in 5 days, whatever. So so you can kind of arrange it. And then you can also say, or let's say you're not going to do 5 days. You could just say, or what's your best dates that I could do that? Because maybe you don't get to pick exactly how many days. It's going to be more dependent upon what they have available or can do for you. But this is something that I've done before and it does work. Now, every now and again, they might charge you a little bit more, but actually sometimes they don't. And so it's just like sometimes it's the same price to them because you're getting on the same flight situation. It's just different days. And so I wanted to give you that little secret because you can do that actually all over the world too. Obviously, you don't, not just for Bali. You could do that in the US or like anywhere that you're traveling. You can just, if you need a little longer in the layover, or it doesn't always work if you just want more hours, like because they don't have sort of as many flights every single day, but it's a pattern for the week. Anyway, leave a comment if that's helpful or if you ever even knew that and if you think that you're going to try it. I've done it before. It's really cool. And it allows you to have multiple trips within one trip. Now, if you're already kind of like planning, now the other idea that we've been talking about with the flow state tribe is instead of doing that, or you could do it in addition to doing that, that you would actually instead just plan like a whole bunch more of adventures in Bali or around Indonesia. Because once you arrive to Bali, now you're in Indonesia and it's a country. And then there's like so many islands. Like I said, like, hey, these little puppies. Like I said, there's thousands of islands. So each one of them is actually quite different. You wouldn't think that. You'd be like, oh, 2,000 islands in Indonesia. What's the difference? But they're very different. It's like if you ever been to Hawaii, you know that Maui is very different, let's say like than the Big Island or than all of them are different. So that's what I've noticed. So anyway, basically just going to Bali. I've been to some of the islands within Indonesia that you can even get there by a boat or, little options like that. So you don't even have to take another flight. So there's lots of travel, like exciting adventure ideas. And so I want to share a little bit about that as well. And today I'm going to give you a few of my recommendations. And I'm going to be working on the ultimate Bali travel guide that I have found the best places that I feel over the past 12 years, going there every year. And I actually lived there twice. So I lived one time for 8 hours and 8 months. And then another time I lived there for 6 months. So anyway, it was definitely one of the most life-changing journeys going to Bali. And I've been many places in the world. I think the two most life-changing places in the world, well, I'll say 3, is Bali for sure, Hawaii for me, not for everybody. Some people don't feel that way about Hawaii, but it really depends if you stay in like a tourist trap or if you're like in the mana of the land. And then the other one that when I go, it's always really like this deep soul transformational place, obviously, is India. So those 3 places have been the places that I bring groups a lot because for me, it's also bringing people to this energy. So it's not just like going to travel. Travel is nice. Travel is amazing. Like you think about you go to Mexico, you're sitting on the beach. It's beautiful. There's a lot of magic to that. But there's a difference. Like for every soul, it's actually quite different as well. And if you're into astrology, you could even look this up. And the website that I always do my astrology is called astro.com, ASTRO.com. And you can do a free chart for yourself if you're interested. But anyway, the point is that there's a type of reading. It's called astrocartography. And it tells you what places on the planet are your hotspot. Like where do you have the best luck, energy, and things like that. For your career, for relationships, for money, for love. There's lots of different categories that they can put it into. And these are based from the planet. So for example, if your Jupiter line runs through a location, let's say you had Jupiter running through Bali, you will feel very lucky and expansive being there, right? And then some places, maybe Chiron and something, so it feels very, very healing for you. And then some places, maybe Pluto is there, so it feels like every time you go there, something bad happens. right? So when I learned about that, it was very interesting because then I started to see the hot spots that I had already been gravitating to without knowing that. My soul was called there. And then when I looked it up, it was obvious. I was like, ah, that's one of my hot spots. And it was like obvious because there'd be like 5 lines going into it. And it was like a location on a huge planet. And it was like all these lines. Hawaii was that, Bali was that. Another one for me is Greece. There's different ones, Greece and Italy. There's different ones. But anyway, if you guys are interested in that, it's quite interesting. And I feel that it can be beneficial to understand that for yourself. Let's see. I got some people saying stuff. Floor says, Wiki says Indonesia, the largest archipelago in the world to form a single state, consists of 5 main islands and 30 smaller archipelagos, totaling 18,110 islands, of which 6,000 are inhabited. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. 18,000 islands and even 6,000 inhabited is a lot. But this is interesting, right? You can actually think that 12,000 islands are not even inhabited. They're just like islands with nobody living there. It's cool, right? Anyway, each island's so special. And okay, so getting into once you arrive to Bali, because people have been asking this question, what do I do when I get there? Now I want to mention that, okay, before even getting there, actually, I want to mention a couple little hacks for the flight, because the flight itself can be very enjoyable or challenging because it's far, right? Wherever you are, especially in America or Canada, anywhere on this side of the planet, it's going to be the other side of the planet. So you have to literally go to the other side of the planet, and it's far. So when you do that, you go into a different time zone. Like when it's midnight there, it's noon here, so like your whole circadian rhythm starts to change. That's why I always suggest people go for at least a couple weeks or a month, because it takes a little bit of time just to adjust your circadian rhythm. And one of the things that really helps with that is taking melatonin on the plane. And another really smart thing to do is bring earplugs and an eye mask and a neck pillow. Now, these things you might be like, I see people with those and they look so geeky or something, but it's like, in the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you look, it's how you feel, right? So what I love about that is that, if you don't have a neck pillow, unless you're in first class where you have a bed, you're basically sitting up for like 20 to 30 hours, and if you fall asleep like that, you can wake up with a big problem in your neck. So I definitely suggest neck pillow. You can get the one that will inflate, so it's easy to fold up and put in your purse. That's a smart one to do, but there's different ones that are more comfortable. And then, like I said, earplugs. I saw a study that said when you put earplugs, when you're actually, it's almost anywhere that if you wear earplugs, but on the plane especially, it is so like good for your internal pressure systems and everything. And the stress and cortisol goes way down from having that. So there's a lot of health benefits to the earplugs, and you will love it. Like if you're into it, like you do it and you're like, it's so much better not hearing all this noise. The other option that I like to do too is if you have, a headset, and then you can listen to frequency music. So binaural beats and frequency music. That's something that can be very, very good, because if you're listening to frequency music, let's say it's like Love and Miracles, which is something that I like to listen to. So Love and Miracles, and then literally your vibration is getting attuned to that frequency for the whole flight. You would definitely want to keep it going. And then you want to bring a charging cord, of course. A lot of planes now do have a USB for charging, and then some of them have an actual plug adapter and stuff. So depending on what you need to do there. The other thing is I like to bring my laptop because you can get a lot of work done. Like, think about it. If you have 24 hours, you're just sitting there with undivided attention. Bring the laptop in case you want to get work done. And the other thing, which I think is even better, is to bring a journal. And your journal is literally like the portal into this next adventure, because what I like to do in the journal is write like sort of like where you're going from here, because a lot of times when you go on a trip, you are going through a life-changing transformation or shift in some area of life. Not always, but a lot of times. So if that's the case for you and you're on the flight, you can start to get more clarity around that experience for your life and start to put it down into paper and manifest your best case scenario by just getting clear with the words. And that's something that I really believe in, is that actually when you write something down, it takes it from the invisible realm into the physical realm. So you're manifesting already just by putting it on paper. And or if you're just letting go of something, that's another way of manifesting. Like, I'm letting this go, or I let this go. And when you do write, I always recommend putting it in first person present tense or past tense. So it's like, I let this go. That's past. But if you say, I am letting this go, that's future. But if you say, I am letting this go, you're telling the universe, I didn't yet. So instead, you tell it, I already did. So it's like, done, moving on, whatever it is. So anyway, journaling is super smart. And like I said, bring extra pens if you're a journaler. And there is a real sign. I've seen different research about like the difference between typing and writing with a pen on paper. It does make a difference, but I don't know if it's like a huge difference, but I've noticed that there is a difference for me. Okay, so what else about the plane? Oh yeah, so nowadays, they don't really allow you to bring beverages, but you should bring an empty water bottle and you can fill that up in the airport. A lot of places have water filtration for refilling your water bottle, and then fill it all the way up for the flight, because you don't want to sit there waiting around for the flight lady to come back to give you this amount of water. You want to drink as much as you can. Flying is very dehydrating, and dehydration is really bad for your health. And it does a lot of damage. And I think people don't really even know the extent of the damage, because it just starts to make you feel more and more tired and your mind less clear when you're dehydrated. Anyway, so drinking lots of water. You can also bring electrolytes powder that you can put in the water. So you're getting like all your potassium and the different electrolytes that you need, calcium, magnesium, and so that it's helping you to stay hydrated. So that's something that I definitely recommend. I've been taking electrolytes and it's really like helping me a lot, because I don't know why, I feel like it's so hot in Florida lately that I've been getting more dehydrated. So Bali's super hot. This is the next point I want to make. Bali is super hot. So when it comes to packing, you want to really think it's hot. I think that there's almost very rarely where you would ever be like, I need a sweater. Maybe at night, never in the day, never in the day, in my experience. And like I talked to the Balinese people, and they said there's only two seasons in Bali: raining and raining and hot. And I was like, that's exactly right. So it's either raining or hot and raining. No, that's not right. There's hot or hot and raining. So it's always hot, but then sometimes it's raining. Basically, it's a tropical paradise. So that's how like the trees need all this water to grow. So the rain comes and does that. Anyway, I love the rain in Bali. It's amazing. When we're going to be there in January, it's not the height of the rainy season, but it's not the dry season either. It's somewhere in between. It will definitely rain when we're there. I don't think it's a problem, but you want to plan for that. So I don't know if you want to bring like something, but they do have at the hotel like umbrellas and things like that in case we need it. The other thing that I usually recommend, although you can get it in Bali very easily, they have all these like amazing natural mosquito repellents because for people that get bothered by mosquitoes, you want to prevent any problems with that. I personally never get bit. I've been going to Bali for 12 years. I think I've never gotten one mosquito bite ever, not once. And I feel good about that. But I do hear them and I see them, and I have a lot of people that were like, yeah, I got, you know, lots of bites. So just you can think we have lots of good solutions for that. I also bought this thing that I'm going to bring that's really cool, and it's like a little mosquito zapper, and it's portable and stuff. So I'm going to bring that for the people that have any issues. Let's see what else. Oh, so I have in the Know Before You Go booklet, I have, I think, listed what I think is the best like natural remedies for a variety of potential situations. So, for example, when you travel, your immune system can go down and become weaker. So, if you end up getting the weak immune system, that can lead to getting sick. So, you want to prevent that. Boost your immune. And the immune system, most people don't know this. Leave a comment if you know this, but the immune system is like 90 or 95% in your gut. In your gut. So it's not like, I think people imagine your immune system is like all over. It's not. It's in your gut. And so if your gut is toxic and have any problems going on and there's no good flowing, like let's say you constipated or something and it's not, like things are not going properly down there, you can get sick easier. Because also another reason for that is because the virus or the bacteria or whatever it is gets stuck in there too instead of flowing through, which would naturally do. So anyway, probiotics is one of your greatest defense. You want to bring probiotics whenever you travel. You can get them in capsules. They have one that I think is really smart that I remember. It's called Pearl, and Pearl probiotics are designed to uphold the temperature of your gut so that it doesn't kill the probiotics before they can be effective. So that's a smart one to do. But there's a couple different ones that I like. The other thing you might want to bring is enzymes, digestive enzymes, because you'll be eating new things in a foreign country and you want to be able to process properly for that. So anyway, little things like that. But if you ever do get sick, this is something, actually, I just made a video about this the other day. It's a short video, but it's the remedy that will literally heal you and cure you if you ever get the flu or a cold or any kind of problem when you're traveling, which happens quite a lot. Like I've gotten sick a lot when I traveled. I just consider it kind of part of the experience if it happens. It's usually teaching us a message. But if you don't, then that's even better, of course. And that's why I want to prevent and give you all these little hacks. But like, for example, if you want to bring a little kit of kind of healing kit for yourself, one thing that really, really works is called oregano oil. Oregano oil it's like the strongest oil of the actual plant of oregano, the herb, and they make it very like high dose. And it's actually a natural antibiotic. A natural antibiotic. Isn't that cool? Because natural, like antibiotics that you get from the doctor are always really bad for you. They kill all the good little bugs in the belly and then they cause a lot of problems. But the natural one, it does the same effect, which is killing the bad guys, and then it doesn't kill any of the good guys. So it's like that's the benefit of doing natural route versus the traditional medicine. Oregano oil. Okay, the other one that a lot of people swear by that I don't really like because I don't know, it's just very bitter to me. But grapefruit seed extract. Grapefruit seed extract. It comes in a liquid and you can add that to your water. And once again, it's a natural antibiotic. And then the other thing that I take a lot when I travel is you don't have to bring it with you, but you could, is raw garlic. So if you take raw garlic, it will also, it's a natural antibiotic. So that will, not everybody can handle it. Leave a comment if you like garlic. I'm a lover of garlic, and I especially love the benefits, the health benefits. So what really makes it palatable is if you combine it with manuka honey. So manuka honey has tremendous benefits as well. So if you have your garlic with the honey, makes it taste a lot more palatable, a lot easier to go down. But it also adds extra health benefits too, because manuka honey, it has antimicrobial, it has enzymes. It's like a really unique kind of product that it's a honey, but it's a very high concentrated, like medicinal type of honey. It's quite more expensive than normal honey, but it's worth it. So if you want to bring manuka honey, I don't know, you might think of it. I think the easiest thing to transport is the oregano oil and the grapefruit seed extract. So that's usually the two things that I bring. The other thing I want to mention is actually frankincense oil. Most people don't know, and I found this out one year when I was leading my yoga training in Bali, and one of my students had stubbed her toe before she got to Bali. She stubbed her toe and her toenail was broken. And she was suffering because it was very hard for her. It wasn't just a little broken, like the whole thing was gone. And it was very hard for her to like do her yoga practice kind of, because you need your feet, like all the time. And so she was kind of struggling. And so I gave her this frankincense oil and she put it on her toenail. And I'm not joking, it healed it in 24 hours. That's how powerful it is. So it's like actually the oil that they used on Jesus and to heal him and stuff. So anyway, frankincense oil has tremendous benefits. You do not consume it. It's not something you're going to eat or drink, but you can put it topically. So I recommend that. These are little hacks. I mean, I have like millions and millions of hacks like this. But anyway, these are some of like the key ones that I feel like are really important. Let's see. Anybody have any questions so far? I've covered a lot so far, but I just want to make sure that you guys have the opportunity to ask anything that you might want along the journey. And also let me know if you find this helpful, because we don't have to talk about this the whole time, but I did feel like it's a nice thing to give this information. And also for anybody who's not going to Bali, it doesn't matter because you can use this information anytime you travel and it's all really, really helpful. Okay, so there's so many more details that I would give. Let's see, Jamie says, in Bali, can we get fresh lemons daily? And can you bring honey in? I love honey so much. My gosh. You're so cute. Well, it depends. If you check a luggage, like put the luggage, not as a carry-on, you can bring almost anything in there. I mean, with a few exceptions, but like you can bring honey, you could bring garlic, you could bring lemons, even probably. Maybe not. Like I know some islands are very strict against certain things, but if you're gonna bring the honey, I would just put it in like wherever you're putting your shampoo and stuff, so that it looks like it's just part of your toiletries, just in case. Because they do have certain restrictions about bringing food into island countries. And Hawaii especially is very strict with that. But Bali's not as strict. And I think as long as it's in your checked luggage, they're not going to have any issues about anything that you put in there that's within the parameters of what they allow. But yeah, so honey you can bring. Now lemons, they do have lemons. Bali's an island. I mean, they have every kind of citrus or every fruit. They have every vegetable. I mean, they have stuff that you've never even tried. It's amazing. Like I love eating in Bali because they have amazing stuff that we don't even have access to in the rest of the planet. And fruits, especially, very specifically. Like they have this amazing, they call it pitaya, but it's dragon fruit. But they have one that's very, very bright magenta, purplish pink color that's so beautiful and so vibrant, delicious. And they have that everywhere. And you can get that and have that for breakfast every day. And like everything good that you would ever dream of, plus stuff that you've never even thought of, they have it. So they do have a lot of stuff. In fact, I'm always surprised what's available there. And even things that you wouldn't think would be available because they import, So they do have, like, just as an example, they'll have stuff that you've seen on the stores, right, in your country, wherever you live, because they're importing from all over the world to stock and make available things for people that are coming from these other countries that would like to have the comfort of those things in their trip. So it's quite easy to find what you need. So yeah, lemons, no problem. And durian, I mean, they have durian if you guys like durian. Durian is a unique fruit that grows in tropical climates that helps you produce more serotonin. So they call it like a happiness fruit. And it's like creamy, so it's almost like a pudding, but it's kind of has a little bit of a pungent smell. It almost smells like onions, but once you get into it, like they make this durian smoothie where they add durian and chocolate and then coconut whipped cream, and it's so good. And we'll go there together to this place that has those durian smoothies. You're gonna love it. Okay, anyway, so yeah, you're on the flight. There's lots of other ideas or hacks that I could offer, I'm sure, for the flights. One thing I do suggest, that I did over the years a lot is airplane yoga, and also in the airport. Do your yoga practice, even if it's only 5 minutes, stretching, particularly your shoulders, your back, your hips, your hamstrings. This is going to make a huge difference. Even if you only did 5 minutes, you're going to feel so much better, and you'll be able to maybe even sleep better on the plane and stuff just by doing some stretches. And you can do them right in the chair, or you could get up, and usually like there's some areas with a little bit of space and they'll have like a handrail, and I do like this whole handrail yoga. I'm like stretching with this handrail, doing all these things. But just the number one key to all of that is you can't care what anybody thinks of you. Like if you're all embarrassed or ashamed of like being seen, then that could like prevent you from getting the benefit of this. So you want to kind of let go of that. Let's see. Okay, so there's lots more things that I could share about the flight, but I will say once you arrive, because this is a question that a lot of people ask me. Once you arrive, who is picking me up? Well, you're going to arrange with our manager for the retreat your arrival time and the pickup. Now, if you're coming in early and you're going somewhere else, then we could probably still arrange for that, but you'll have to find your way to the hotel when it's time to start. So basically, just the most important thing is once you understand how easy it is to get a taxi in Bali, you'll never be worried again. Like there's at least a million taxi drivers. Everybody's a taxi driver. Anybody with a car or even a scooter, they're like taxi. Like they will drive you around for like $5 anywhere you want to go. Not anywhere. I mean, like if you're going farther, like the other side of the island, then they'll charge more. But still, it's very affordable. I remember we went like 5 hours and it was $60 or something. Whereas in America, you would pay that for a 30-minute Uber ride, So anyway, super affordable. The drivers in Bali, almost all of them speak English, which is amazing because most countries, like I've been to India, Thailand, they don't speak English. And it's very scary and frustrating when people don't speak English and you're just like, you need a ride and you don't know how to communicate that. So always, always, always find an English speaking driver. Very easy in Bali to do that. But anyway, and the other thing, when you get to Bali, if you want to, you can get a local SIM card. So this is a really interesting little hack. In your phone, you have what's called a SIM card. So the SIM card is the card that gives you your signal to call and text and email and do all your stuff. Now, if you stay with your SIM card from where you live, then you will be billed for international charges unless you have an international plan. So you could get the international plan, or you can get a local SIM card when you arrive, and it's like $20 or something like that. And then you can do unlimited talk, text, and email. And it's nice because in Bali also it has a good strong signal because it's a local signal. So anyway, that's something that I've done a lot, and it's been really, really nice over the years to have that. The only thing is when you do that, you're gonna actually have a local number. So when you text your friend and they're like, "Who is this?" Because it's gonna come to them from your Balinese number, and they'll be like, "Huh." But you just let them know, "Hey, this is me. This is my local SIM, whatever." So this is a little hack that you can do right in the airport before you even leave the airport, right in the front before you get to the taxi guys waiting there. They're all waiting there like, "Hey, can I give you a ride?" Literally, when you come out, there's like at least 100, 200 taxi drivers in the front asking you, "Can I give you a ride?" So that's why I always want to encourage people, never stress about that. There's literally always, always somebody that will give you a ride. I've never in my whole life of going to Bali had any issue of getting a ride. And so that's the thing. The other thing you can do right when you get there is get the local currency. The way that I like to do it is you take your debit card to the ATM and you take money out, and when they give you the money, it's in their local currency. So that's the best way. So instead of bringing cash from your country, you want to just bring your debit card. Make sure that you tell your bank that you're traveling so they don't lock it thinking it's stolen. But then bring the debit card and get the local currency. That way you can pay for stuff very easily. People do take cash like US dollars, but like I don't recommend it because then you have to think, what is the conversion? And I think you usually end up spending more if you're using US dollars because they're going to have to convert that to their money eventually. So anyway, getting the local currency is definitely a plus and a must. Let's see. And it's a really beautiful currency actually, but I'll give you the exchange rates. So the exchange rates are pretty consistent. For 12 years, they've been similar. So $1 is equivalent, I think, to around between 10 to 13 mil. They call it a mil, but basically it's like their currency. So when you have, let's say, 130, let's say 100,000 mil will be around $8. You see what I mean? So it's like you look like you're a millionaire because you have like millions and millions of their currency, but it's not a lot, right? So you just kind of like once you learn the exchange, it's easier because then you can think in your head, oh, okay, so this smoothie is $3 or whatever because it's like 50,000. And it's called the Balinese rupiah. So it's a similar, the word for the currency in India is the same, rupiah. Well, there's rupiah and there's rupees. So I think Bali is rupiah and the Indian currency is rupees. Very similar. They come from a similar origin and they're both Hindu, which is a really interesting thing. Actually, Bali is the only country out of 18,000 in Indonesia that's not Muslim. It's the only one. And it's instead of being Muslim, it's Hindu and Buddhist both. Let's see. Madison had a question. Will we want to take all the money out that we will likely need from the airport ATM? Hey, that's a great question. No, you don't need to. There's millions of ATMs. There's just as many ATMs as there are taxi drivers. They're everywhere. And some of them are better than others because there's this one ATM that I'm trying to think of the name of it, but basically it's like the yellow one, I'm pretty sure, that will let you get more money. Like some of them limit you, right? So they're like, you can have a maximum of 2 mil per day or whatever. So like it's basically like less than $200, right? And so if you're like, okay, well, I can only get $200, and let's say you were going to go and do something really big, right? That would cost that much. So then you need to get money again the next day. It's annoying. So some of the ATMs allow you to take more out, like 3 mil, which could be, significant. Another 30% is great. Another thing you can do is you can do more than one transaction. So sometimes I'll get 3 mil out and then I will do it again at the same day and get another 3 mil. So now I have 6 mil, because you need to be able to pay for stuff. If somebody's like, yeah, you got to give me 3 mil, you need to have enough. So anyway, that's easy. The ATMs are easy. You want to make sure, like I said, that you tell your bank that you're traveling. But the other thing is, remember your password, because you need your ATM password in order to use, the ATMs, of course. So anyway, lots of ATMs and very easy situation. The other option, some people bring the currency from their country, and then they have exchanges where you can go to a desk and they will do it. They charge a bigger fee. With the ATM, it's just a one-time fee. It's like $2 or something, whereas the other one, they're going to do it on a percentage. So they end up charging more. Okay, so getting the money is good, and getting your SIM card. Now you got to make sure you get your luggage. The other thing that's really smart, if you're a lady like me and you're like, I want to use this trip as a way to up level my divine feminine energy. So I'm going to welcome the help of people, right? So like, for example, when someone says, can I carry your bags? Instead of being like, no, I have it, you can be like, yeah, that'd be great. Thanks. And then like, let them carry your bags. When he comes to your car or, whatever, he will have the opportunity to tell you like, but usually they're just doing it based from a tip. So if you give them like $2, they're stoked. Like they feel that's a good tip a lot of times. And so it's worth it, and you can kind of get your energy in this feeling of like abundance, because you're like, yeah, I'm abundant. I can afford to give this guy $2 to carry my bags instead of lugging them around after this 30-hour flight. And I don't know, I just think it's a nice way to up level your vibration starting right out at the airport. Flor says, is it easy to buy a good yoga mat or clothing there? Hey, that's a great question. Okay, so absolutely yes, because there are a lot of yoga things going on, and so they have lots of yoga studios, yoga mats, everything that you would want. But you have to go. And so like if you need that first day, I don't know if you have enough time. Like if you just get there and you need it like right away, you want to bring your own. But like, for example, at the resort we're going to be at, there's tons of yoga mats that you can use. I always suggest bringing your own, because these are mats that other people have used and they're not dirty. Probably they've cleaned them, I'm sure. But anyway, it's nice to have your own mat. But if you feel you want to buy one when you get there, there's lots of beautiful yoga mats that are available for sale a lot of different places. And even the resort that we're going to be at, I think they sell them there too, because it is a yoga resort. So that for sure. Now, in terms of the yoga clothing, there are a lot of yoga clothing places to buy stuff. And so that's one of my big things. I don't know if I'll be able to cover it all in this video, but like I would also, besides for the best locations to go and explore, I would also, I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite places for shopping, because as anybody who might know me, you might know that I love shopping. I'm a fashion connoisseur in a way. I've always been, my mother was a clothing designer and she actually made all her own clothes when we were kids. And so I love fashion, but the nice thing about Bali fashion is it's exceptional. Like it's so next level. Like they have silk dresses everywhere and like beautiful things with like hand painted batik artwork on the back of your kimono and things like that. So that's why whenever I go, I always end up leave like an empty spot in the suitcase to bring home some of my new wardrobe. And it's not that expensive. I mean, if you want the really nice stuff, you're going to pay, but it's less than you're going to pay anywhere else. But it's not like cheap. Like if you want a silk dress, you know, you might still pay $40 to $100, but it's going to be nice and you're going to be so happy to have that dress. But if you want to save money, they have amazing stuff for like $5. So, you know, depending on what you're aiming for. There's lots of designers, a lot of creative, a lot of creative artists. Hold on, let me fix that. A lot of creative artists live in Bali now and have like full-time clothing like design companies, and they export around the world, and there's lots of amazing designers living there and selling their stuff in the boutiques. Also, the local Balinese women are exceptional. Like I'm always amazed. They're like these amazing young entrepreneurs. They have like their own boutique and they're selling like beautiful things and making a full-time living for their family. You know, and it's like so sweet, and you go in. I love to support them because I'm like, you guys are doing good, you know, and I always want to make sure that they are supported, especially after the COVID lockdown. Like a lot of businesses went out of business because they really rely on tourism in Bali. Like tourism's probably like 99% of their business. And during COVID, they had zero tourism. So it was just like devastating because so many places that I loved went out of business because they just literally had no business for almost 2 years. So I'm excited to see going back there this time what's still open, what is perhaps new even, which is exciting, and then also some of my favorite older places that can't wait to check out again. So that's always fun about going back because you can see like what's new, what's changed, what's still epic, things like that. Let's see. Okay, so I saw Madison had another question as well. Thank you. I was wondering how often we are able to use credit cards. I have an international credit card that automatically transfers to the currency in the country. So many places take credit cards. I also heard there's a taxi service called Bluebird for traveling. Do you know if things like this take credit cards? Well, that's a good point. Good question. So almost every place takes credit cards, but taxis don't because, I mean, okay, I think Bluebird might because it's an app. It's similar to Uber. They might, but my experience is taxis take cash only. You know, especially because it's a very small amount. It's like $2, $5. So it's like, you know, that's why I'm saying you want to get cash. A lot of places do take credit cards though. The places specifically, like a lot of any place that sells clothing, food, those kind of things, they're gonna always take credit cards. But taxis, they're not as likely. And sometimes it's because the driver is just a local indigenous Balinese person and they don't know how to do the technological hookup for the credit card machine or those types of things. So that's why I encourage bringing cash for the drivers and for the tips and for lots of stuff. Super important. Let's see. Flor says she's arriving on the 8th. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm actually going to go early too. So we're starting our training retreat on the 10th. But if you get there early, it's nice. You can get there, check in. Also, some people have requested if they can come early, like how to arrange for that. So if you want to come early and stay at the mansion resort where we're going to be for the training,
then you can prearrange that with us, and we will get you the group rate that we have for our group for those extra days. And so you can stay as long as you want. It's a really beautiful, amazing, large property. So there's lots of space and really fun things to do. And it's actually very close to the center of downtown Ubud. So there's lots of things nearby to check out. So I highly encourage going early and or staying late. The nice thing about coming early is you give yourself a few days to overcome your jet lag. And then the nice thing about staying late is that once you're done with the training, you feel like you're free and you can just go and explore. And it's like, then the adventure is going to really begin. And the integration process from all of the life-changing, healing, transformational practices that we'll be doing in this 10-day program, that if you can, instead of going just straight back on a plane and going home, that you could give yourself a few days at least, if not like a week or two, to anchor in the new energy and the new being that you are stepping into, because integration is almost as important as the actual like practices themselves. That's why we always say that Shavasana is equal in importance to all the other yoga poses. If you don't do Shavasana, you're not giving yourself time to assimilate, to let it sink into the fiber of your being so you can have more the feeling of embodiment from the experiences, and it becomes a deeper part of you. So anyway, integration is super important. So staying longer is a great way to do that. There's a couple of options too. And like I said, I'm making this definitive guide to the best places in Bali, and I'll give you a lot of good options. But if you have extra time and funds, I would say like the 3 best integration spots, maybe 4. I'll give you the 4 best places to do your integration after. I would do this after again. Number 1, if you have the money, I would definitely encourage going to One World Ayurveda. One World Ayurveda is an Ayurvedic retreat center, and you can do between 7 days all the way up to 30 days. And it's called the Panchakarma. So it's a very traditional, very specific protocol. They have a doctor that's an Ayurvedic doctor that measures your doshas and like your vitals, and then prescribes you specific massages and different treatments that they use to balance your energy and rejuvenate your cellular energy. And it's literally life-changing, because at the end of that, you just feel like reborn, because your energy is it's like been pumped with all of this like massages like multiple times per day, because at the Ayurveda Center they do like 2 or more massages every day. And so, I mean, most people only get 1 massage like every now and again. But if you do 2 a day for like a week or 2 weeks, you will see it's very, very powerful. So anyway, I've done that program many times, I think 4 times already, and I'm going to do it again this time. So I might just do 7 days, but in the past I did 14 days, and that was amazing. 14 days is really good. But just 7, because we're going to already be doing 10 days of our life-changing like yoga training. So that's already like preparing you. And so then the integration after will be more just like going directly into integration and receiving mode. And that's really what the Ayurveda teaches you as well, is how to receive, how to let go, surrender, and allow and receive. So anyway, that's one option that I really recommend. It's nice because my friend owns the property, and he's also really close to where we're going to be in Ubud, so it's not that far. There's 3 other ones that I'll mention right now, and I won't go into all my top picks of Bali because I'm going to write that in this PDF that I'm creating, this ebook. But another one that I really love, which is a hot springs and diving resort. It's about 4 hours northwest of where we're going to be, but it's on the ocean, and they have hot springs. Now, hot springs are very healing. They have this sulfur that balances all of your skin, your pH, your digestion. Literally, if you have any problems in your body, it will kind of heal that. Just sitting in the hot springs like once a day. So at the hot springs resort, you can sit in the hot springs every day. They also have one of the most beautiful snorkeling and diving reefs in all of Indonesia. It's like the fourth best one. I don't know if it's Indonesia or the whole world. I mean, it's so beautiful. It's called the Coral Garden. It has all these purple starfish and like amazing different like life under there. And it's so special. And it's really like right there's this huge Ganesha temple with this big white statue of Ganesha. And that's like where you snorkel and dive around there. And so anyway, it's a very special place. I've been there many, many times, and that's an option. So I'm gonna put the names up, but it's called Mimpi Menjengen. And that's like one of my favorite places that I always try to go if I can. Another really great one that I love is called the Istana. And Istana is in Uluwatu. So Uluwatu is about 2 hours south of where we're going to be. So it's a totally other side of the island. But Uluwatu is really, really special place. It's like on the cliffs, and it kind of has this like feeling of Hawaii, and because of that. But they have this one resort, you could call it. It's a very small place. It's not really a resort. It's more of a spa. They only have a few rooms and they're very pricey, but basically they have a hot and cold plunge, and they have steam and sauna, and they have like all of this biohacking with a beautiful pool with a cliff and a restaurant and a whole vibe. Like they have events there and stuff like that. So it's a beautiful biohacking spa on the cliff overlooking the ocean with amazing sunsets every day. So if you're thinking, I mean, it's a little pricier, but it's kind of like really worth it if you can do it for a couple days. And Uluwatu is a very special area of Bali to check out, so you might want to consider it. Then the other one I'm going to mention is the last one I'll mention on this video is called Blue Lagoon. So I actually was leading my trainings in Blue Lagoon for a few years as well. The only reason we stopped was because it's really remote and there's nothing else around there to do. So other than that, it's amazing. It's like on the cliff. It's on the east side of Bali. So it's once again a different area, but it's on the cliff. And every villa, it's like these eco retreat center. They grow their own food. It's all organic, no pesticides, beautiful property with ocean view everywhere with these flowers everywhere. It's just like magic, with a swimming pool that has a water slide and a waterfall, and it's really, really beautiful. So anyway, that's super worth checking out, Blue Lagoon. They do have a spa, and their restaurant is good too. They don't have the biohacking stuff, but they have an amazing spa, and they're just wonderful people. So there you have it. Those are the 4 that I'm going to mention for today. Really good options for your integration after the program. And I will share more in the PDF that I'm creating for us about the definitive guide to the best places in Bali. And I'll also be sharing, like I said, some ideas about shopping and other kinds of things that you want to know being there. But let me know if anybody has any other questions. I think I have a few that I saw. Let's check. Okay, so Madison said, awesome, thanks so much. That is relieving. And yes, that makes sense about the taxi. Okay, Fleur, great. I'll get in touch. Should I contact Michelle? About what? About staying, coming early, Fleur? Is that what you mean? Madison, how do you spell the Hot Springs Resort name? It's M-I-M-P-I, Mimpi. And then there's 2 locations. So you want to look at the Menjengen. So the one with the M. Mimpi Menjengen is the one with a hot spring. They have another Mimpi on the other side. It doesn't have a hot spring. So you want to make sure you get the one with the hot spring. Val says, how is the mountain called you climbed? There's a lot of, okay, so Bali has a lot of mountains and it has 7 volcanoes. They actually call it the Ring of Fire because it has 7 volcanoes. It's so cool. So each volcano is like a mountain. So you can climb a number of different mountains. And then they even have some of the temples that are built into the mountains that you climb to get to the temple. And so a lot of exercise. You're going to do a lot of stairs, a lot of hikes, a lot of inclines. And so that's nice because a lot of people who come get in the best shape of their life. That's literally like one thing that can happen for you. And I've had people literally lose like 40 pounds in 2 weeks because we also eat very, very clean and detoxing and cleansing. Also, anybody who wants to consider doing like a juice cleanse or any kind of cleanse during this program, during our 10 days retreat training, you can let us know and we'll create a group that's doing that. I always do cleanses when I go. To me, it's an opportunity to totally reset your energy and to totally create a whole new reality for yourself. So the more that you're open to doing things that can help, you know, then I would encourage. But anyway, so that's another option. Madison said, "Do you know about hostels in Bali?" Okay. I don't ever encourage hostels. I think that hostels, um, I've had people steal stuff. Like when I stayed at a hostel when I was young, because everyone's in the same room. But I would say Bali has enough places that are super affordable. For like $30 a night, you could stay in a nice place. Whereas a hostel might be $7 a night, but then someone might steal your stuff. You got to kind of think of it, like what's worth it. But also, if you're going to stay longer, you can actually get a monthly rate at a lot of places and get it even more affordable. There are places, especially near the surfing areas, like in Uluwatu, that have a very affordable, like where you can just rent a room, which you wouldn't have like a full house or a kitchen, but you could rent a room, and that could be like $10 a night. But it's not like fancy or nice. Like it's not nice, but it's not like, oh my God, this amazing space. But for $10 a night, I mean, it's clean and in a good area for what you are looking for. So that's an option if you're trying to save money. But if you have money, there are places in Bali that will literally blow your mind. It's worth it for, even if you like in America, you would pay $100 to $200 a night almost any hotel. So if you think of it, instead of trying to be like always just saving money, if you splurge on some of the nice places, you will never regret it. There's this one place that I stayed. It's called the Royal Pitta Maha Resort. And when you do the room, I think the room was like maybe $200 a night. But basically, you have your own private infinity pool in your front porch, and it's like a whole house and built like it's a hotel, but it's like you have a view of a waterfall and like it's just so ridiculous. But then there's also places that are very, very affordable that are amazing. Like my friends, they have a little retreat center that's by this very pristine waterfall in the northern part of Bali. And you have to really go in the middle of the jungle to get there. But when you get there, it's so nice because you're literally like off the grid and you're just in the middle of the jungle and you have so much good energy, like negative ions and positive energy from the trees and the birds and everything and the waterfalls. And you can stay there. It's very, very rustic. It's like glamping, but not even glamping. It's just like rustic. So you have this like little hut, but it doesn't have walls. So any bugs, they will come, things like that. They do usually have screens for the mosquitoes. But anyway, that place was really worth going, honestly, because their food was amazing. They had this like unbelievable restaurant in the middle of not like the jungle, in the middle of nowhere. They had the best food and they speak English. It's ridiculous. Let's see. Jamie says, "Love you, Dashima. Thank you for all the amazing advising. Super duper helpful." Oh, good. Yeah, I've been really wanting to make this video because so many people have been asking lots of questions in the WhatsApp group.
And I was like, let me just do a video. I mean, I'm gonna do more information for you guys, but as you can tell, I think we've been talking at least an hour already. Let me check the time and I'll tell you. Yeah, it's probably over an hour already. And I have only scratched the surface. So now you can see when you guys ask questions in the WhatsApp group, why I'm like, it's nothing that you can generally put like a one word response, right? Like an hour later, I'm still just scratching the surface. So that's one of the reasons that I created the Know Before You Go booklet. It's another reason why I created the syllabus, which has tons of information as well about our program and also about the trip. And then it's also the reason I'll have a lot of information on the website too. We also have a frequently asked questions section of our app in the Flow State app and also the website. And then like I said, I'm making this definitive guide to the best places in Bali that I'll be making available. So I've made so many resources available so that I don't have to repeat myself over and over because it's a lot of information, right? Does that make sense, you guys? Let's see. Val says, will you put the glamping one in the folder? Yeah, I will. And I have to reach out to them. They're wonderful people. Beautiful. And they have like a yurt in the middle of the jungle there. And there is an option to pay a little more and you can stay like in a place that has walls. There was one that had a yurt and another other like little house. Cost a little more, but I think it would be worth it. If I went back, I think I would definitely stay in the yurt, but you need to book that in advance. Madison said, that sounds awesome. What's the place in the jungle called? Yeah, so that was the other question. I don't remember the name of it, so I have to like get in touch with them to remember because it's like, a lot of every waterfall has a different name and stuff, and I don't remember the exact name of that one. And it's also something that you really need to organize with them because it's a private thing. Like it's not like a commercial. You wouldn't be able to book it on booking.com or anything. It's like you book directly with the guy and he's trying to think if he was from US or Australia, but really cool blonde-haired kind of cute guy actually. He had a girlfriend at the time, but I think they broke up. I saw on Instagram they're not together anymore. But anyway, they were so cute together and they were running this place together. And it was funny because it was such a synchron destiny story because they had both been guided to this waterfall and they went there and I don't know I think he bought the land. So he owns the waterfall. And I was like, what an intelligent guy, right? So he bought the land. He owns like one of the most magical waterfalls ever. And it's not just a normal waterfall. It's actually from like a holy temple spring, something like this. I don't know. It's very, very cool. So they bought the land and they built this. And so they own it, which is really, really interesting. Now in Bali, you can't actually own the land forever. You can do what they call a land lease. So I think he owns it for like 100 years. But if you're probably going to only be alive for 100 years, you own it. So yeah, it's a beautiful spot. There's lots of things like that though. I mean, there was this one that I saw. It was also in Uluwatu and they had bubble. You might have seen, I made a TikTok and a reel about this one time. It's like these bubble glamping bubbles on the beach. So basically it's like this big clear little dome camping. It's kind of camping, but it's like you're in this dome, there's a bed, and you see the sky, the ocean, everything, because it's clear. I think it's made with plastic, but it's like amazing. And obviously they have ventilation and stuff, but anyway, that was a really cool one that I thought would be fun to stay in as well. There's lots of things like that. That's why it's like, and if you start planning sort of long enough in advance, then you can book early. But places that are really cool, they get booked up. So you do want to plan and get your reservations if you're going to definitely want to do something just in case it doesn't get booked up. I remember when I used to go
before COVID, things were always booked up. I don't know what it's like now because things have changed in the world, but we'll see. We're going to see when we get there. So I'm excited about that. Okay, so I'm going to complete my topic about this today, and you can let me know. Does anybody have any other questions? Because I just wanted to make sure that we go over all of this information, and hopefully this has been enlightening and helpful. And if you have any questions, you can always post them in the comments of the video. This video will be made available in our app as well for the replay. And so you can also watch the replay on my YouTube channel in case you were wondering. So there's lots of ways to get access to like hearing this again. And also if you have any friends that that might be wanting this information, you can share it with them. Like to me, I want to help as many people as I can go to Bali because the people of Bali have been so good to me for 12 years. They're like a family to me. I have so many good friends there, like Balinese people, not even just like Westerners, like actual Balinese friends that are like soul family. And so I want to bring, people there to bring also more abundance back to Bali, more good energy. And that's another one of my intentions for this group. Super excited about this training. It's such a nice way to start the new year, 2023, starting the new year with the amazing energy. Hi, little Fluffa. Hi, guys. My name is Bear. This one I call him Little Bear. Doesn't he look like a bear? Hi, guys. I'm the bear. He's a little bigger than the other ones. He's already 3 pounds. Look at him. He's like huge. Hi, guys. Big one. They've been peeing everywhere. Little peers. Let's see. I saw Abigail asked a question. Let's see. I just wanted to share that I've just got my first job here in the US. Wow! Congratulations, Abigail. Do you want to share about it? You can come on the video or you can whatever you want to do. But basically, what kind of job? Is it teaching?
It's teaching 5 days a week, and it's more vinyasa, high-powered, more dynamic yoga. So
amazing!
Yeah, I'm super happy.
Wow! Yeah. How are you liking it here now that you're an American?
Not sure about this humidity. I'm sat here melting.
Oh, you're in Texas?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But no, I'm settling. I'm starting to really love it. So it's good. Yeah.
You know what? One thing that I like about humidity, because I live in the tropical where it's like hot and humid, and it's good for your skin.
Everybody is.
Yeah. Because a lot of places that are dry, you just dry up, where the humidity keeps, it's like having always moisturizer. People that live in humid places end up like looking younger for longer. So that's a nice benefit. But it does take a little bit of time to get used to it. But I think anyway, I'm so happy that you're enjoying, and congratulations on your job. That's so cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is it at a studio or like what? It's a yoga studio?
No, it's one-on-one with a lady who lives here for 2 weeks. So it's in person for 2 weeks here in Houston, and then it's virtually for 2 weeks because she then lives in California. So I've applied for so many studio jobs, but I'm really happy to have my first job as a one-on-one. Yeah. And I just watch this space, see how it grows.
I always encourage people to do one-on-one more than anything because you can actually there's a lot of good things about it. You can control your schedule. You can charge more and you get really nice, intimate relationship with your clients. And when I was doing that a lot, I felt my clients were like my family. And at holidays, we would, get each other gifts. And it was like a very unique and beautiful exchange of energy. And so I think one-on-one is actually the best. Although if you're going to teach classes, eventually what you could do is, once you feel comfortable, especially, is like put together a workshop. So some studios might be more inclined to have you come to teach one workshop versus put you on the schedule because maybe they don't have a spot open. So that's why it's like harder to get a job on the schedule, because they have to actually need a teacher. And that, is a timing thing. But like just doing a workshop, you can propose a workshop to them and be like, I want to teach a workshop about the chakras or whatever, you can come up with it, divine feminine healing, womb healing, ceremony with cacao. There's so many beautiful ideas around the new moon, the full moon, whatever. And, unless they already have all that, but like if they don't have that yet at their space, you can propose it. And then, that's something they might be more willing to do. Because it's a one-time idea. And then if it works out, then you can actually make it consistent. One of our graduates, Jordy, who lives in Santa Monica, she actually she lives in LA, but I remember even during the training, before she even graduated, she was starting to lead like these full moon yoga events at a local hotel. So she went and got a partnership with the hotel. And then the hotel would promote the event, which is the hard part, right? So they got all these people to come. And so there was like 100 people at her event. And she got one friend who would come and do tarot card readings as well. And then another one doing like live music. And so she made it like a fun thing where she had her friends doing stuff with her. And they had this amazing thing. They were doing it every single month. And I was just so impressed with that because she wasn't even graduated fully yet. Like she felt so confident of teaching, and she only did the online training, and she felt so confident. She started teaching these events, and she was doing, and this was during COVID, which was like amazing that they were, but it was outside. So it was really cool because everyone could breathe and be outside. And anyway, so that was just something that really got me thinking, getting out of the box. And in the Master Business Academy, which is the business training that's included with your tuition with the training, that it teaches you a lot of ideas like this, like how to get out of the box, get sponsors, get partners, like creating opportunities, because there's like the old like route, which is go to a yoga studio, ask them if they have a job. Right? That's like one-dimensional thinking. So thinking like bigger is always a good idea. So you can kind of think, okay, well, besides for that, what other ways? And, usually the other ways are going to be much more lucrative. You're going to be able to think about it. If you had 100 people and they all paid $10 even, that could be $1,000 for the 1 hour yoga class. If you were going to teach a yoga class at a studio, they will generally pay no more than 50 to 100 for the class. That's a lot. Usually it's even less than that, depending on the location. So it's like $50 versus $1,000. See what I mean? So you kind of want to leverage your energy in that way and think big. Try to think big and have confidence. Go in there like, yeah, this is what I'm doing, and they'll be like, oh yeah, okay, that sounds good.
I have a question about, I've come across a lot of companies over here that do corporate yoga, but I've kind of looked at their schemes and they kind of want you to pay them, and then they do a lot of the admin work for you. And then you still have to chase your leads. So you still have to go out there and try and find companies to teach corporate yoga. What's your thinking of this? Have you come across it before?
That's a good question. I actually used to teach corporate yoga. What I found was that the best way to do it is networking and meeting people that work at corporations. Like if you meet someone and they work at a company and you hit it off and you're like, yeah, like it's super important for the wellness of the company that the people that work there are all healthy, right? So, you could propose like going in there once a week, or you could propose going and doing a workshop, like a one-time workshop or a talk, and so there's different things that you can propose. But I think the best way is like literally just meeting people that work at companies, because then you already have this relationship established, and then you're like, hey, by the way, Sally, whatever, you met her and you guys are friends now, and then be like, I'd love to talk to your HR person about coming in and doing something for the employees where you work. So usually they'll be like, that sounds great. Like people will love that idea, especially people that work in corporate. They're like, anything, please, because it's like not a good environment, it's like fluorescent lighting, it's like cubicles a lot of times. So be confident in the sense of knowing that people are going to want what you have. Because a lot of times what holds people back from trying these things is the potential feeling of, well, maybe they don't want that. And then I'm like selling and I'm pushing myself onto them. That's not the truth at all. If you do it in the right way, where you're positioning it as a true benefit and the value for them and how much it's going to help everybody, the employees, the company, the executives, everybody benefits. And actually companies have a budget for this. They have a wellness, usually they have some form of a wellness budget. So you would get paid from the company, which is even better because it's more consistent, right? So let's say you're like, okay, $200, like you set your fee, whatever, like $200, I'll come teach a yoga class or whatever, and then you have this set amount coming in instead of, let's say if it was like $10 per person and then a lot of people don't show up and then you're dealing with like going all the way there for like $10 or free, so you just got to kind of like set yourself up properly. But what I found was there's some really good ways of meeting people. I think networking events are good. Honestly, when I was starting out, especially, I would go to the Chamber of Commerce events, places where people that are looking to do business are going, and go there and just meet people and be like, hey, what do you do? And get interested in what they do. And instead of just talking about what you do, but like actually ask them, what do they do? Because you want to know, what do you do? So I can know if I can actually connect with you and work with you in some way, So having that conversation and then getting to the core of like the service that you provide, the passion, the intention that you have for why you're doing what you're doing. And that comes through to people when it's genuine and authentic, and they really, I feel, respond favorably to that. I think that's why I've always had a lot of success, because when I talk about what I do, I'm passionate about it. I remember when I met the guy who was the head of the Happiness Hall of Fame at Stanford. I met him at an event, kind of like a networking event. It was an event. And we were sitting in the back and we were talking about something totally unrelated, but I was telling him some ideas because he was thinking about creating a course. And I was like, well, I'm an expert of that. I have like so many courses and they've done really well worldwide. And so I was giving him some advice on the courses. But anyway, we ended up leading to like the conversation of like, what do you do? And I was like, well, I'm actually kind of like a happiness expert. And he's like, no way, I'm the founder of the Happiness Hall of Fame. He's like, we should have you in the Hall of Fame. I was like, oh, that's a good idea. I was like, I'm into it. So it was like so interesting because like, first of all, I started the conversation out about him. I wasn't sitting like, listen to me and about my Happiness Hall of Fame. It was more like, hey, what do you do? How can I add value to your life? And then as a result of that, it led to a really big opportunity where he felt, to want to help me out and to boost my life up a bit because I was helping him. Anyway, so that's kind of like the general energy. You want to always kind of come from that place. I think that's one of the keys to success. That's why I wanted to mention that, because in the end of the day, like you never want to leave feeling like, oh, I don't want to go to these events ever again because like nothing came from it. The only reason that nothing can come from it is if you're not really skillful in how to communicate and form relationships and like how to find a way to help people. Like if you can find a way to make their life easier, you will be successful. So these are little secrets that hopefully it's helpful. Is that helpful, you guys? Let me know. Also, if anybody has any other questions, we're going to get ready to wrap it up today. Let's see. If you don't have any other questions, I love you guys and I hope you're having the best Sunday. Always love our time together. Let's see. Do you know anything about Chiyo Yoga by Swami Agung Sangha? Chiyo. No, I don't know anything about that, but I will say I teach a yoga that's called Chi Flow, and it's Qigong with yoga. So Chiyo sounds like Qigong with yoga is what I'm imagining that stands for. So it's a fusion between Qigong, which is an Eastern, like kind of Asian modality, combined with yoga. Someone is coming tomorrow who does this. Oh, cool. Yeah, try it out. You know, when I started out, I always literally tried everything. I was like, let me try this. Let me try this. That's why I got so many skills. And that's why I have such a successful career. It's not because, I mean, there's lots of reasons, but I think the number one of the big ones is I am a lifelong learner. You want to be a lifelong learner. Not like, oh, I already know everything. I've been teaching 1 year. I've been teaching 17 years and I'm still learning all the time, taking courses, deepening my healing for myself, deepening my knowledge about healing. Most recently, I've been taking courses about womb healing, about hypnosis, and what was the other one? Oh, and then relationships. So those 3 courses, you know, so like anytime you want to deepen your skills and your knowledge. You maybe want to rent my yoga space. Oh, cool. Yeah, do it. Like, definitely. I think that's such a great direction for you, Floor. Rent out your space. It's so beautiful. And it could be even more lucrative than doing your own events. You never know. You could do a revenue share or just charge them a flat rate because you don't know how many people are going to show up. It's much better. Just get a flat rate. But anyway, that sounds like a great idea, Floor. Let's see. Is it an issue if my period happens during the yoga retreat? No. I mean, to me, I don't prefer it, but it's nothing that's going to be a problem. You know, it's like at any given moment, there's going to be several people on their moon cycle because when you have a lot of women together, it's a guarantee. And I think we're going to have like at least 30 or 40 people. So you're going to have people that have it, you know, so it's no problem. You don't want to do inversions on the first 2 or 3 days. That's the main thing. And if you feel, you know, it's difficult for you to operate your life when you have that, you know, you can talk to me privately about that. But the other thing that's super exciting is I got this amazing, you know, I used to have a biomat, which is like a very beautiful crystal healing mat that you can lay on. It's made with crystals and puts like negative ion therapy into your body. And I got a new style kind called the Phi mat. And it's smaller and it's very lightweight and transportable. So I'm super excited because I can bring that hopefully to Bali. Oh, this is one other thing I want to mention. Some things in Bali, like they have a different plugging system. So there's like 120 and 220, no, 110 and 220 are the voltage for plugins. And they have the opposite of America. So in America, I think ours is 110 or something. And then over there it's 220 or the opposite. But anyway, one time I brought my biomat and I plugged it in and it wasn't compatible and it exploded. So you want to watch out for that and make sure that you get the right plugs. Super important. Don't bring anything that might be devastating if it got destroyed, if you're plugging into the wrong thing. But anyway, it doesn't really happen very often, but just a little side note. And let's see, what other questions? Anybody have any other questions before we get going for today? Want to thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of our tribe and community. Super excited about January. If you have any friends that might want to join us, I wanted to remind you, you can get 10% commission for any referrals. So that's another way you can have a friend come and also earn income. So definitely consider that. And the more the merrier. It's super exciting. We have mostly women coming, but one of the goddesses, I think it's Jamie, is bringing her fiance, I believe, which is really, really cool. I love having guys there. It really balances it out. And so if you know of any men, no. Yes, Brock. Oh yeah, so Jamie's partner is Brock and he's going to come. And it's so cool because he's so excited. Oh, amazing. Yeah, it's so cool because he was the one that introduced Jamie to yoga. I was like, what a great boyfriend.
doing all the work with me. Yeah, it sounds like you guys have a great team. I'm so happy about that for you. And I can't wait to meet you both. And all of you. Can't wait for you all to be there. Let's see. Jamie says, absolutely. He helped me find you. Yeah, that's what you were saying. Like that he was in the daily yoga app and he introduced you. That's so cool. He said we should elope. Oh, he loves you. That's so cute. Yeah, well, just so you know, there's like the most beautiful places for weddings in Bali. I mean, I've always thought that maybe I would get married in Bali, but actually, the guy that I want to marry is Italian, so I might get married in Italy, which I would be happy with. We'll see how it goes. I'll keep you posted on that. I keep putting it out to the universe. I'm like, okay, it's happening. Anyway, I love you all and sending you so many blessings and miracles for your week. May you have the most beautiful unfoldings of your heart's desires. And as our affirmation, we've been sticking with all this time, I'm so happy and grateful. It all worked out beyond my wildest dreams. So definitely stay with the affirmation. I do believe it works. I love you all. Have an amazing, beautiful day. Until next time, I'll see you soon.